Installing Gyprock Plasterboard and Cornice is easier than you might think, whether it's fixing a hole or installing a whole ceiling. The Gyprock DIY video series will show you everything you need to know to complete the project like a professional. In the first video, we'll take you through the basics that'll help you work out the best board to use and how to measure up and order what you need.
So what is Gyprock Plasterboard? It's an internal wall and ceiling lining board or sheet made by encasing a gypsum core in a heavy-duty lining paper, making it strong, easy to handle and quick to install. Gyprock is very versatile and can be used to create stunning architectural features like niches, bulkheads and even coffered ceilings. The sheets are glued and nailed or screwed directly to the wall framing or ceiling joists. Then the recessed edges where the sheets meet are set with joint tape and 3 coats of compound to create a smooth, uniform surface ready for painting. Corner beads are used to strengthen the corner joints where walls meet and to protect against damage. Cornice is used to cover the junction between the walls and the ceiling and provide a decorative feature to complement your style. The name Gyprock has become synonymous with plasterboard, and Gyprock manufactures a range of plasterboards to cater for different performance needs. Gyprock's standard 10mm plasterboard is the cost-effective wall lining board for most rooms in the house, also available in a 13mm thick board. Gyprock Super Seal has been specifically developed for ceilings to provide an excellent finish with no sag on standard 600mm joist spacings. For wet areas like bathrooms and laundries, moisture-resistant Gyprock AquaCheck is the best choice. For higher sound insulation for entertainment rooms and bedrooms, Gyprock SoundCheck is ideal. And for corridors and stairways, Gyprock SuperCheck's reinforced core reduces the risk of damage. Gyprock Plasterboard, Cornice and all the tools and accessories you'll need are widely available through major hardware stores, building suppliers and specialist Gyprock trade centres. They can also recommend a professional tradie if you think your job is a little bigger than you're happy to take on. To find your nearest outlet, check out the store location finder on the website gyprock.com.au.
Okay, now we're ready to work out how much Gyprock Plasterboard you'll need for your project. For larger projects, professional plasterers generally order by calculating the square metres of their walls and ceilings. For DIY projects, ordering by quantity of specific board types and lengths can be a lot easier.
Start by drawing up a diagram of each room opened up like a shoebox and use this for your measurements. Measure the width and height of each wall. Measure the width and height of any openings such as doors and windows. For ceilings, measure the width and length of the room. These measurements will also be used for ordering your cornice.
It's best to plan your job to have the fewest number of joints possible. Gyprock Plasterboard and Cornice come in different widths and lengths to help reduce work and wastage. You'll find all the sizes available at gyprock.com.au.
The sheets are installed at right angles to wall studs and ceiling joists. That means for walls, they go on horizontally. For wall heights up to 2.4 metres, you'll use 2 1200mm wide boards. And for wall heights between 2.4 and 2.7 metres, you'll install 2 1350mm wide boards. This setout will cover the area with a single horizontal joint. If you'll be installing Gyprock Cornice and standard skirting, then stick with the RE board, which has recesses on both long edges. If you're thinking of square setting your ceiling, or you plan on very narrow skirting, then RE SE with one recessed edge and one square edge may be a better choice.
To minimise butt joints, choose a board length which is at least the width of your wall.
For example, if you have a 4.5 metre wide wall, then a 4.8 metre board will mean less joints than 2.4 metre boards.
For ceilings, select the board width that'll give you the least joints in the job.
For example, for a 3.8 metre wide room, you'll need only 3 1350mm wide boards, compared with 4 1200mm wide boards. For your ceiling board length, use the same thinking as for walls. If you plan to square set your ceiling, you'll need to make sure you have a square cut edge at the wall. Now you can list your different board requirements. It's a good idea to order around 10% extra in case of mistakes during installation.
If you're unsure about your requirements, simply take your measurements along to a Gyprock Plasterboard supplier. They'll help you calculate what you need.
Gyprock Cornice is available in a range of profiles and lengths, so select your preferred cornice, then select the lengths that best suit the length and width of your room with the fewest joints. For more detailed information about setting out for walls and ceilings, take a look at the Gyprock Residential Installation Guide available from gyprock.com.au.
Apart from plasterboard and cornice, there are a few other things you're going to need.
As with all DIY projects, make sure you have safety glasses, gloves and a dust mask handy. You could also consider hearing protection if you'll be working in a loud environment. As well as your safety gear, you'll need tape measure and pencil, a straight edge to help mark and cut the board, a utility knife to score and snap the board, a keyhole or plasterboard saw for cutting out penetrations, and a fine-tooth saw for larger cuts. For installing walls and ceilings to timber or steel frames, you'll need Gyprock stud adhesive to glue the board to the joists and studs, a 38mm broad knife to apply the adhesive, a hammer or cordless screwdriver. If you have a timber frame, 30mm ring shank nails or Type W 32mm coarse thread screws. For a steel frame, use number 6 Type S needle point or drill point screws depending on the frame thickness. A working platform and ladder to reach the ceiling and the top of walls. Small offcuts of board to use as packers to keep the board off the floor. You may also want to consider a plasterboard lifter to make installing the ceiling boards easier. Any corners that project into the room are finished with external angle corner beads, which are available in metal or PVC. If you're using metal corner beads, you'll need tin snips for cutting the bead, staple gun and staples to hold the angles in place. This works for both timber and steel frames. Or if you don't have a staple gun handy, you can use nails and a hammer for timber frames only. For jointing the sheets, you'll need Gyprock jointing compounds, a roll of Gyprock perforated paper tape. For tools, you can choose disposable plastic tools for smaller jobs or professional steel tools that you can clean up and use for future projects. You'll need broad knives or trowels in 150mm, 200mm and 300mm. An internal corner trowel. A hawk is also a good idea to make loading your trowel a lot easier. You'll also need a sanding float, either 150 grit sandpaper or 220 grit sanding mesh, a pole sander or working platform for ceilings, and a soft brush or cloth. For installing cornice, you'll need pencil and tape measure, Gyprock Cornice cement, a mitre box or a Gyprock mitre master if you're using Cove Cornice, a fine tooth saw, cornice small tool, 38mm broad knife, hammer and nails, water and a sponge for cleaning up.
Now you're ready to start work. Take a look at video 2, how to handle, measure and cut Gyprock plasterboard. And check out the rest of the videos in the Gyprock DIY series.